Hello, everybody. Tracy Hackler with another exciting edition of Roadshow Roundup. We got stars all over the screen. 3 you've seen before. 1 you may not have seen yet, but you see him now, and you're going to meet him. Let's just go. We got Kevin with his glasses on. Let's start with Kevin because we always go like clockwise.
I was going to say I'm usually last.
We're going to switch it up this week with Kevin Kulikowski in the ring light glasses, the impresario of the New York Roadshow, Bronxville, New York. Top right.
Wait, Tracy, time out. I would say going forward, can we please, if it's not too much to ask during my introductions, can I be referred to as the lifeblood holding this podcast together?
Yeah. I mean, I will call you whatever you want me to call you.
Please add that to your notes going forward. Thank you.
Okay. The lifeblood holding this podcast together. That's Kevin. Kevin runs the New York Roadshow in Bronxville. Top right of your screen, we have clean-shaven Ryan Chanel.
Can I be known as the heart that beats the lifeblood through this podcast?
No. You could be known as the guy who left the podcast once early for dinner and who had bad internet connection one time, who had to leave the podcast.
Right.
We could just keep going, but
He's
you
got
could be called whatever. You could be called whatever you want. Besides,
Kev's got receipts,
that, of course.
That's Ryan Channels, and then to his left, but our right, is the Hunter Renfro.
That's right.
Paying Justin Channels. And those two siblings run the California Roadshow in Sonoma. Bottom right, both of them are with their hats on backward, I might add. Cody Kareem, you've seen before. His brother, Chase Kareem, joins the podcast. BHG, Backward Hat Gang. And Chase will run the Texas Roadshow shop with Cody in Mansfield, Texas. And gentlemen, it's good to be back with you. It's not a week. It's not a happy, complete week without doing this podcast with you guys.
Yeah.
Wait, Tracy, I have the most important question to start this podcast.
Okay.
As of this morning, today, when you woke up.
Yes.
Who is the quarterback of the Denver Broncos?
I thought you'd never ask, Kevin. Russell Wilson is the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. In fact, it was made official today, the first day of the new free agency period. He met the Denver media today. He looks so good in Broncos orange. And I am still giddy with excitement. And I can't wait for more Photoshop clones of Russell Wilson in Broncos gear until he actually suits up. But I'm still very excited.
We're missing the elder statesman today.
Yeah, Trey is noticeably absent.
He's
by the
busy.
way. There's only a couple guys that have been on every episode of this podcast now. The Lifeblood is one of them. I'm one of them.
The official host and the Lifeblood. That's it.
I'm 1 for 1 on podcasts I've been invited to.
are.
So I just want to throw
That's
it out.
true.
That is true.
Now, don't forget that, Chase.
He's got a perfect record right now.
It's impressive.
Obviously, Trey Huntsman has been with us every episode except this one. He is celebrating his girlfriend, and I believe Emily, he once called her the future Mrs. Huntsman. They're celebrating her birthday tonight. So he had
news that was broke on this podcast.
Yeah.
So to all of our lucky listeners, you guys heard it first.
Right. And that's what we do here. We're all about breaking news.
Sorry, ladies. Trey's off the market.
Shame.
Trey's off the market. He's got a winner. He outkicked his coverage.
Absolutely.
So anyway, crazy week already. So we have Chase and Cody are actually in Lexington right now as we speak. You've been there since Monday. Kind of talk about what you guys are doing in Lexington at the Kentucky Roadshow.
Well, as you can see, we're in our hotel with the beautiful horse art.
Yeah.
Love it.
In the
Love it.
picture behind us. So yeah, just been training with Trey and David and learning the ropes so far. It's just been a lot of back-end system, uploading cards, uploading inventory, how to do online sales orders, how to like do process sales through the POS and the point of sale and all that. So it's mostly been a bunch of like technical training, but yeah, so far it's just been a lot of technical training, I'll say, and administration stuff, but something we definitely needed.
Yes, so the shop, the Kentucky Roadshow, was actually closed today so that new security gate could be installed. There's actually footage of that on the social media handles of Roadshow Cards. Chase, have you been to Lexington yet?
No, this is my first time in Lexington, Kentucky. So experiencing the shop for the first time, kind of jaw dropping when you first walk in. Like this was where it all started at. So it's cool to experience it for the first time. I didn't get the welcome committee that you or Cody got the first time on y'all's first visits, but it is what it is.
Well, I know they're excited to have you. I know that you're going to be an integral part of the Texas Roadshow experience, and you're obviously an integral part of the YouTube channel that you and Cody run so diligently and very craftily, I might add.
Yeah, props to Chase on his editing. The editing work that he does over on Texas Roadshow's YouTube videos is top notch.
I love the introduction.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys.
I love that.
Well, if your brother's not going to recognize you for your talents, just know that the other members of the Roadshow will. Don't worry.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We're all
the Roadshow intro or the thing that we're making is basically your intro to our YouTube video. So the one that we're making.
For those of you who don't understand what Cody is saying there, it's the
I don't understand what Cody just said.
The map being populated by a traveling marker that was inspired by your Chase's intro for Texas Roadshow, but that's being adopted for Roadshow Cards.
I didn't know that.
But with a banjo playing in the background.
Your royalty checks should be coming in soon. They're in the mail somewhere.
Speaking of royalty, the Channels brothers up there. Oh, don't let me keep you up, Ryan.
The ring light is so bright.
You need to nod off.
It is 6 p.m. in California at the time of this recording.
Yeah,
you guys are going on loop.
Yeah, we gotta go on loop.
So we're gonna get to Kevin last in the shop roundup because he's got news for the first time. So I'm excited.
For the first time ever.
But the California Roadshow brethren, you guys had the great David Diamondstein in town with you last week.
We did.
And kind of talk about how that went down.
Well, it went down very different than it was anticipated to go down. So David was originally coming out so that we could, plan the flooring and everything and where we were going to put furniture and just like figure out what we wanted to order and like get it all into a file and organize it. And that way, once we are ready to go, just go in and order a bunch of stuff, get it shipped to the shop. And when he got here, literally the first day he's seen the shop, we go to the shop, we meet with our contractor, and there's our electrical permit failed. So we had to go in and rework the wiring. We had to do some demo on the current wiring and then redo all of it. And it's going to be about another 2 week setback. So it just kind of, and that all happened like it was news to us when it was news to David. So he was, he's just like, you know what? At this point, nothing surprises me. Just got to keep your head up and keep things going.
One other thing to add with the electrical stuff. This is Justin here. That the unit we have the end unit, and apparently the panel box for the other two that are there is inside of our unit, which is not ideal because the other gentleman, the place next to us, his name is Don. Don's electricity went out, and he couldn't get access into our place, which obviously with being a card shop and all that, he can't just come in, after hours and, fix all that stuff. So they got to rework his panel, which then needs to be redone before we can apply for the new permit.
It needs a sub panel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Put it in his space.
He needs that so that he can access his electricity and all that without having to come into the California Roadshow. And so that needs to also be done before we can apply for or have the inspector come back out to approve all the work.
Yeah, and it's interesting that all these things that have been hiccups or kind of obstacles in the road, like when the shop's open or when you go into a hobby shop, you never think about electrical plans being denied or roots and walls or blueprints not approved in New York because they don't do security gates. Like all those things nobody sees, nobody feels, and you guys are sprinting toward opening. All you want to do is get open because there's so much excitement, so much that you want to do. And then you hear, oh, well, that's another 2-week delay. Seems like an eternity for you guys, but for David and for a lot of your contractor, it's just part of the deal.
And we talked to our contractor too, and he said like, you know, if you wanted to start a shop 4 years ago, he's like, he's like, all this stuff could be done so quickly. And he's like, nowadays, stuff that used to take, 2 days takes 2 weeks, takes a month. He's like, it's a sign of the times, and with the supply chain and with the shortage of workers at town hall, he's like, and the amount of just all sorts of things are in place to make this a lot longer than it should be, or usually is.
All the most interesting things too, like little caps for copper wires. He's like, you wouldn't think that those caps would be in short supply, but it's like they're 3 weeks out. And he's like, so I ordered a ton of them, but I got to wait for 3 weeks, like, just for all the different reasons, which it's surprising. And like you said, Trace, we have no idea, at least going into this, as we're learning all these new things, of course.
Yeah. And Kevin was dealing with a lot of that himself throughout his process, but he has a good news update on things in New York, right, Kev?
Yes, sir, I do. We should be we got our approvals that we need. Apparently I found out that there is a now pre-work start walkthrough that needs to be done by the town. Okay, sure. And so we're trying to schedule that in the next 1 to 2 days, but the goal is to hopefully begin work either Friday or Monday.
Awesome.
And we're gonna have double crew working on it for the start of the job. So the demo component should hopefully happen at a lightning fast pace, and then we can get into, again, we've said New York is there's no major work being done. Granted, we can remove something and find weird electrical wires behind a wall too, I guess. But as of now, it's really simple, and hopefully shouldn't be that bad.
That's awesome. Huge news, which also means, by the way, that in the next few walk-in Wednesdays are going to be new and improved. Because although Cody and Chase are in Kentucky right now, there's a lot of stuff going on at the Texas Roadshow shop in Mansfield. I've seen it myself. Cody, talk about what you saw the day before the walls were put up versus what you saw when you walked in and saw everything put up.
The day before, the city had passed the inspection on plumbing. So they went in, filled concrete up, which that was actually scheduled for Monday. The city came on a Thursday, so 2 business days early, approved it. They're able to pour cement in, concrete it all up. It was able to dry. Then Friday, so we were there Thursday, and then Friday, they came in, and me and Tracy walk in, and all of the framing for the walls are up, and it's just like, wow, that was a big change in just a 24-hour period.
Yeah, it was awesome.
How was that received in the group chat? Were people excited about your walls?
No, I think only you and Jimmy G and one of the channels liked it and said,
excited.
"Yay, good job."
I was excited for
Tracy didn't respond in the group text, but he was there.
Well, Tracy
so
was
it
there, right?
Hey, I was on the phone. I gave you your congratulations on the phone, Cody.
He
That's
did
true.
actually. Yeah, he did.
Okay, all right, there we go. We were getting some love.
Yeah.
So progress in New York, progress in Texas for sure. a little kind of delay in California, but not to be dissuaded. You guys are going to keep pushing, and then obviously Kentucky has a sweet new security gate and is back in business.
Are we
So
gonna
all
have,
that's
are we gonna have a video package for the security gate, like introducing the security gate to the folks on Roadshow Cards who want to see it?
we're gonna this is Tracy, by the way. Yeah, we're gonna have video footage of the gate being put in. In fact, some might say it's already on Roadshow Card social account, so go check it out. Okay, yeah, I think we've mentioned it briefly a few times. Headquarters just across the street and down the street from where the Kentucky Roadshow is, and it's a cool idea because it really gives more importance to what we're doing as a franchise, where we have 4 shops and we have a corporate headquarters. It's going to be decked out. So yeah, but I don't know when it's going to be done, but Jimmy says
They're
everything
saying
starts moving
late
fast.
May or early June.
Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of development and
Late May, early June.
I tell you, the National's going to be crazy this year.
it's gonna be cray is what I think the kids say sometimes.
You know what might make it the craziest national
What?
of all time, though?
What?
The fact that this week on social media, we've had a very, very famous person asking when and where to the national.
Yeah, that famous person that Kevin's referring to obviously is rap mogul, I guess, Drake.
Drake pulling
Entertainer extraordinaire, Drizzy, I think some people call him.
The sixth god himself.
Yes.
Champagne Poppy.
Yeah, the champagne. So yeah, that Cody and I think we were all tuned in on Tuesday night when he posted on his story that he was going to rip a bunch of flawless briefcases looking for, I think he wanted the triple logo man, but he was also looking for a LeBron logo man. Later that afternoon or evening, a store started ripping his stuff for him. He was in the live, and it turned into just a frenzy of Ken Golden was in the live, Gary Vee was in the live, Josh Luber was in the live, Champagne Poppy was in the live. It was pretty bizarre. I know Cody was watching it pretty intently. How would you kind of characterize what that window of time was?
Yeah, so I was actually looking to see if he had posted anything since then, and he hasn't. But I mean, I was texting like everybody I could as soon. Chase is actually the one who found the live, and I'm like, oh, well, there's a group that has like 4,000 followers that say they're breaking false cases for Drake, and I'm like,
We're both skeptical.
and I'm like, this is wild. And then I looked, and like Drake follows them on Instagram, and I'm like, wait, this may be legit. And I think at that time there was like 80 or 90 people in the live, and all of a sudden I see Drake comment.
Drake's like telling them which box.
Yeah, Drake is like picking out which boxes to rip, and I'm like, wait, this is Drake. And I immediately am texting like Hackler and Kevin. I sent a group text at like midnight Eastern that's like, guys, I know it's late, but literally some of maybe the most important, or not most important, but like
Recognizable.
most impactful, influential, whatever word you want to say, recognizable nights of the hobby is literally happening right now. And I think at one point that live got up to over 1,600, 1,700 people in there, which on an IG live is unheard of, essentially,
Wild.
unless you are Drake. Right.
And I hate to break it to F1 fans, but he was not impressed.
He was not an F1 fan, I will say that.
F1.
No. It's funny because
so
the chat was trying to send F1 to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it started out, to give y'all a review, it started out with
F1 and V friends and NFTs. Like
there was a lot of pumping of different products in the chat. So it started out with some false cases. I think his biggest card was the Luka Auto out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, up in on that first live, yes, but by the time the night ended,
correct.
Okay,
and then it went from that to
6 boxes of 2018
Didn't they do?
Well, they did F1.
They
No,
did
he did.
F1,
He did.
and then
He did.
during,
He got one
at
box
the end of
of
the
21 Prism.
correct,
Yeah.
and then at the end, I don't even think it was the end. I think it was like 3/4 of the way through. Drake commented and said, "No disrespect to F1, but I need basketball." And then at the end of the break, asked the breaker what the most expensive box they had was, and they said 2018 Prism, and he said, "I'll take every box that you have,"
Which was 6.
which was 6.
And then they ripped the 2020 Prism for him at the end.
Um,
Nothing huge out of the 18 Prism. And then, which we found out today, the day after, that he was also in another live after that with King Golden and Shine, and he pulled the Durant signature swatch autos 1/1.
Star Swatch on.
But yeah, there was a palpable, tangible excitement.
Anytime that Shine or Ken Golden, and to an extent, even our owner and founder, Jimmy Mahan, are in a live, they kind of own the live, right? Like
Mhm.
Ken Golden and Jimmy did a live together, and it was like everybody was there for Ken and Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
Anytime Shine is live, anyone's there for Shine, right? Like not that who they're with is irrelevant. It's just they're such a good big hobby presence that is clearly who all the people in the chat are tuning into, and it was crazy to see all of those people: Shine, Ken Golden, Gary V,
Ben Baller,
Adam
Ben
Lefkoe,
Baller,
Ben Baller,
Josh Luger.
Rob Kardashian, Rob G, Josh Luber, Evan Longoria randomly in this at one point.
he's
Yeah,
a big
and then
card
you have
guy.
like
He's a big
Yeah,
card guy for sure.
yeah. And then you see like Rob Kardashian's tagging like Tom Hanks
Yeah.
and like huge A-list celebrities in this, and it's like, wait, this is like not like as big as Ken Golden is and as big as Shine is. This is like
This is bigger.
It's
on
way
a
bigger.
completely
so
different level. Like
Yeah.
Two
it's-
things to piggyback off of what Cody said. The first being me and Cody had this conversation in real time as this live was happening yesterday, where we said, okay, like who's the biggest influencer that has dabbled in cards? And the name that I immediately said was Mark Wahlberg. And I think up until yesterday
I don't think up until yesterday it was close, to be honest.
Right. And Mark Wahlberg was the most famous person in cards, right? No questions asked. Then we're like, wait a second, like how many Instagram followers do you think Mark Wahlberg has? And I think, Cody, where were we? Like it's like 18 million-ish.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's about right.
18.3 or
And
something.
then
like
we
that.
went and looked at Drake's, and it's like 120 million.
It's ridiculous. It's whole nother level.
And so it brings it to a whole nother level. And the one, like the cliche thing that the kids say nowadays, oh, tonight's going to be a movie or whatever, or like, oh, we're breaking these cards, it's going to be a movie. But like you said, Tracy, like the feeling in the lives that Drake was in yesterday, not even being on camera, his name was in the damn chat. That was it. And it drummed up such excitement that you had literally at one point or another, I've seen every single Instagram influencer in the card game was there. Every single even larger name who's not necessarily an influencer in the card game was there. It was wild, and it sort of like just created this, like, it's not even like, look, do I think that Drake being in the card game is gonna sell more cases of Flawless to the average human being? No, right? Like most people are priced out of that. But the fact that Drake is in the card game is going to draw more attention to it. And so it's going to be a, from the ground up effect, right? It's interesting because this yesterday, like at its definition, like you see when people enter, it's like, oh, is this going to be a pump and dump, or, oh, are they trying to push one thing or another? No, this was just Drake wanting to open some basketball cards. And it went from Flawless to Prism to hell. The breaker was like, hey, do you like F1? Let's see if this works, right? Like it didn't seem artificial or planned at all. it literally, and look, I'll be the first to say it. Cody and I had this conversation last night, and I was like, there's no shot that's Drake. That's definitely one of his friends who's like on his account, right? Like, and then the more I thought of it, I was like, wait, I've seen videos of Drake playing online roulette like on a random Tuesday night on his Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was like, this very well could just be a bored Tuesday night where somebody told him about cards, and here we are, right? So I've eased back on my there's no shot that was Drake, and I'm now fully on board, and we need Drake at the National, but that's going to make security clearance.
We need Drake
in
at
the
trade
butt.
night.
One of the
Yeah.
small details in all of that I might add was very early on, it was made known that he was searching for the logo man.
Yeah.
Right. So he knew what a logo man was. Who knows how, or at least like he had to do some kind of a research to figure out flawless is the top line. The logo man is the number one thing you're looking for. So either it's, organic interest or he heard it from somebody, but something stirred it up or something got to him that was like, yeah, there's actually a LeBron logo man and it's not out yet, or at least it hasn't surfaced yet. And you can actually go find it. So then it's like, it's that whole, there's a whole bunch. I was thinking about that. There's a lot of different roads or a lot of different, chords that had to connect to get the ball rolling, which is really interesting in my mind and shows a whole nother thing about the card community and even possible like future ways of if we could figure out or just kind of see how that public interest gets drawn into that there's a lot of opportunities to get some more people involved, or at least to help more people understand what cards are all about.
It's a great
I got
point.
three quick points. One, I have it on certain authority that Drake DM'd the Panini folks to ask them where the logo man was. So we kind of know that's what he was looking for. And then like collecting's cool factor has never been higher than it was yesterday before he started. And when he got in, it just multiplied immeasurably how cool collecting is. And then thirdly, I don't think we love our athletes in the sports car world, obviously, but if LeBron James himself had joined the live, I venture to say that it wouldn't have been as exciting or as heard around the world as if Drake joined the live.
I agree.
It's just a different level.
Completely.
And I don't know where it goes from there, if Champagne Poppy starts his own breaking business or what, but it's good for the industry.
To kind of add on to that, there were a couple comments that he made, and to make note of that, they have about the same number of followers on Instagram, LeBron and Drake. So that is to the extent that the popularity is, right? But a few things. For one, and it's so funny because me and Chase talked about it, and then I texted Kevin on the side, but then Hackler actually texted me and Kevin this in a group text, so we're all thinking it. But gaming was already kind of trending up, and streaming and Twitch and so it really reminds me of, so at one point, and I don't know how familiar, obviously Kevin, Chase are all familiar with this, but gaming was already trending up and it was on the verge of like bubbling over anyways, and Fortnite was already getting huge, but Drake actually got in a game with Ninja and played with Ninja.
Who, for
then
folks
at
who
that
know nothing
moment-
about gaming, Ninja at the time was the LeBron James of video game players, basically.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And like after that moment, like gaming just exploded. Streamers started getting hundreds of thousands of subscribers on their Twitch channel, and it just became like Tracy said, it became cool. Like watching people play video games became cool.
Not that I know too much about gaming, which I used to game a lot in high school, but I never really got into the gaming side of the hobby, which I would be interested if it sounds like you and Cody know a little bit about it. So I'd be interested to learn more from you guys. But to that same effect though, I know that like as a basketball fan, Drake has always been kind of, synonymous with basketball, just with the way he mentions it in his music, the way he's courtside at all the finals games, and he's courtside at all the Raptors games. Like,
right.
So in a similar way, Drake, opening flawless basketball to the casual basketball fan might be really cool and also draw a lot of interest towards basketball cards in general.
Cody's internet's pulling a
anyway.
channel right now.
He just wanted to go to Suggins is really what it was.
He wanted more catfish fingers.
You need some fish nugs, man.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree. I think Drake is the definition of, like, when I think of, and it's weird how, like, rappers usually get paired with basketball, right? But it's an intertwined culture, and the names at the top of that list at all times are Drake, J. Cole, and 2 Chainz.
And 2 Chainz.
Basically, I mean, well, Kendrick, yes and no.
2 Chainz is a big basketball guy, though.
2 Chainz has season tickets at the Atlanta Hawks sitting courtside, and I mean, I guess the same could be said for Offset.
E40 at the Warriors. Yeah. E40 is at basically every Warriors home game.
Right, but no disrespect to E40, Tell Me When to Go is one of the anthems of my youth. But, like, when's the last time E40 put out a banger, though?
Right.
Chase the Money. That's a good song. You heard that one yet? Chase the Money's pretty good.
It's not Tell Me When to Go. But I think that, like, yes, like you said, Drake was the perfect ambassador, and I think that Panini themselves couldn't have done it better, where they said, if we are trying to get basketball cards to hit the next level, what global celebrity who is already sort of entwined within the sport can we use to be an ambassador? I mean, Drake, that's a home run, right?
Do you think that Panini had something to do with this?
Initially, no, but now going forward,
right,
it would be silly for Panini not to be like, hey, Drake, here's 2 boxes of Flawless, or here's a case of Flawless. Like, make sure you're, rip it, tag Panini, or, you know, whatever it is. It comes down to, like, at its core, if Drake truly does develop a liking for basketball cards, and we'll see, maybe this was a one-night fling, maybe this is going to be Drake is in the hobby. But if Drake does develop a love for basketball cards, Panini might not have to pay him if they're just like, hey, we'll send you 1 box of everything that comes out. Just jump on live and open it up. Like that, Drake gets free cards, Panini gets free marketing.
Well, obviously, and obviously not step on that point, but Josh Luber is obviously interested in doing that.
Correct. I just the only reason that I'm using Panini is because of the basketball license as it stands today.
To your point, Kev, I don't think this is a one-time fling for Drake. I mean, he made a comment last night. I'm not sure if y'all saw it, but he essentially said there are many more flawless basketball cases on the way.
But he also made a comment that said, "No lie, you guys have better odds playing roulette." So
that is true. That is true.
So and that comment is the only reason that it's like, okay, did Drake, have fun, spend $50K, not get anything amazing to show for it, and then
so I will say when he pulled that John Morant 101 falls patch out of, he was pretty hyped about it.
Okay. I was on my 7th dream by the time that live started, but yes.
But right, exactly. So we'll see. I mean, this is what I think. I think that there's going to be at least one more IG live that ends up like last night.
Yeah.
It's going to be a movie.
I think that there is a lot.
It's going to be a movie.
I think there's a lot of hobby interest on the line on that break. That's what I'll say. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's kind of a two-edged sword too, because if he pulls something, if he is the one that pulls the triple logo man, everybody is going to say it was rigged. I mean,
right. I mean, it's almost like pulling an Adrian Peterson. It's almost like pulling an Adrian Peterson rookie shield and then a cut auto. Like the question's always going to be there. Like it just will.
And your whole career is going to be tainted from that.
That would never happen. That would
Right.
never happen. Nobody would.
Was it a loaded case? Is it given away eventually? Does Drake just keep it? Like what happens?
Yeah, like
There's-
did he know? Did he know it was loaded? And
the
he
world
still,
wants to know,
that's
and
a
the world
great.
will want to know if Drake pulls the LeBron logo, man.
And I
I mean,
actually
eventually-
believe this is the same for Hackler, but I think Drake could open 100 cases of flawless, pull the triple logo man on the 100th case, and there would
And
still
people
be
say it's
people that
rigged.
says it's rigged, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's the age-old thing of like, as a guy who's probably, I don't know how many boxes I've ripped on video in my long storied career, but if I
Very
pull,
long career.
my son just told me that I was old and fat, so
Oh,
Which
no.
one hurt more?
I'm really the fat one, because like the old one, he tells me that all the time.
Bronco told me that when I was at your fight.
He told you that in dog language, but no matter how many breaks I've done in my lifetime, every time there's been a good card, it's loaded. Every time there's not a good card, the product stinks, and there's no in between, right? So it's like, so there would be that segment of people who think it's loaded because Drake is a millionaire and he knew what he was getting. But to Cody's point, a lot of people could be on the line in that next break, but it's not going to diminish the participation in the hobby. It can only increase it because the people who are in it know exactly what they're getting into. And if Drake's buddies or actor friends or musician friends see it and get intrigued, they could follow suit with breaks of their own.
But I think there's I'm gonna put 50% chance that Drake randomly shows up at the National. is what
Okay,
I'll say.
Switzerland.
I mean, he said,
Right?
I would even say 51 and say there's a
There
better
we go.
chance.
Majority.
We're making progress here. You're sort of taking a stand.
So-
You're picking a side.
And
So I'll say this: they were talking about all the collectors that were in there were talking about the National, and he asked when and where is it, and is going and commented to the guy that was breaking that he was going to DM him and get all the details and everything.
Okay, so I'm sure we'll have plenty more on Drake and his participation in our beloved hobby down the road. But there's one more order of business that we have, and we had a little homework assignment last week to rank our respective top basketball players of all time because it came up as one of our discussions. So we were going to go top 10, but that's way too long and nobody wants to hear all of our top 10 lists. So we reduced it to 5 in the sake of brevity.
Or
And-
as Drake would say, top five, top five, top five.
Yeah, he would say that.
he goes crazy.
Who wants to present their list first? I think that it kind of came up because Cody felt like Kobe wasn't maybe even a top 10 guy.
Cody said Kobe is a fringe top 25 player last I talked to him.
That's not what I
Um,
said. That's not what I said. That is not what I said.
So
Cody said Kobe is a product of Shaq and is basically a bum.
That is
what I
also
heard
not
from the
what I said.
Sounds like
conversation.
Charles Barkley speaking.
So who's going to go first? Who's going to give their top 5 first?
I want to clarify before we go first. I
Okay.
think
Before
that
we go,
Kobe is somewhere between 8 and 12 all time.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
And I
8
think
and
that if you
24.
try to argue other than that, then you're wrong.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
I'll go
Okay.
first
So-
since I'm the guest, and I'm
Okay.
also
Chase,
on the
you're not a
corner,
guest.
so we can just
you can be
go.
a reoccurring guest.
Yes.
a permanent guest.
So Chase, you go first. You have the floor.
All
Top
right.
5 all-time basketball players.
So my top 5, I will say, will probably look similar to Cody's. I also don't think Kobe is top 5 or
Okay.
arguable for top 5. But number 1, I'll have Michael Jordan, and I'll have LeBron at 2, which that could even be a mix-up for some people. Which
Again, if you mix that up, you're wrong.
my 1, 2, and 3 are kind of like set in stone for me. So for
But you
3, I
just said
have
you can mix
Kareem.
up.
Kareem
No,
3.
I don't agree with you. For me, 1, 2, and 3 should be set for the same people. Like I feel like it should be unanimous, the top 3. But Kareem at 3, Bill Russell 4, and then Magic 5 is what I would
Okay.
list them as.
Okay. Cody?
So
Same?
mine is very similar. I have Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Bill Russell, and I actually have Larry Bird at 5 instead of Magic.
Okay. Fair enough.
Kevin does not like this.
Yeah, Kevin,
Larry
what
Bird
do you
is
have?
not a top 5 player. Stop.
Ryan, the clean shaven channels. Who's your top 5?
So just going top 5 all time, I would say MJ, LeBron, Curry, Magic, and Kareem.
Okay. A lot of similar names on all these lists so far.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Justin.
Curry.
All right. On
There's
my
one that
list,
sticks out.
I don't think he sticks out at all.
MJ, Bill Russ, LeBron, Kareem, and Curry.
Okay. The,
So you
Can I
don't
change
have
my list,
LeBron
put
at number
Luka in
2.
the top 5?
He put Bill Russell over LeBron.
Once he passes Kareem in points, he'll be second. Then there's no doubt. And that's in 60 games?
Kareem went to college, didn't he?
yeah.
People
He
forget that LeBron.
Well,
If Kareem played for 4 more
I think-
years,
Lou
I think
Alcindor.
Kareem played. Yeah, I was gonna say I think
In college.
Kareem played 3 or 4 years in college.
he played 4 years.
Yeah. John Wooden.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, if we're allowing the channels to put Curry in their top 5 of all time, then I should be able to put Luka in my top 5 of all time.
Luka.
You can. It's your list.
I can see when you look at Curry's accolades, right? I can see the argument. Do I think it's right? No.
Sure.
Do I think
And that's
do
why
I
we
think
all
he
have our list.
hold on. Do I think that he has a space in people's top 10? Maybe like he's fringe top 10.
Oh
right?
yeah. I think it's very conceivable that at the end of his career, Curry's a top 10 player of all time.
At the end of his career, if he continues this wild trajectory, he might be top 5, top 4. Like
End of his career. Try it in 3 months.
what weird record is he chasing in 3 months
Well,
that
he's gonna have another championship.
he ain't gonna
Oh.
have another championship?
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
Draymond
Kevin.
So that
called
was
it the
over
other night.
Russell?
yeah.
Wow. Look, we'll let California off. We know they have a weird obsession with Steph Curry.
Also,
Yeah.
are we like you can be a top 5 player and only play one side of the court?
Yes,
What?
that doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It's your list. Like
It's your
you-
list. Top 5: Michael Jordan, LeBron, Harlem's own Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and then I am putting one of my top 3 favorite players of all time, who I also feel deserves a spot on this list, Big Daddy Cool Diesel, Shaq, at number 5.
Okay.
I
Shaq
like that.
Diesel.
All right. So
As a
hey,
rapper?
3 out of 5 lists I can see the points on.
There was a lot of hate last week on Cody for not putting Kobe top 5, and then no one ended up putting Kobe top 5. in their list.
Yeah, I haven't given
Because-
my list yet.
Well, Tracy hasn't given his list
There you
yet,
go,
and Cody
Tracy.
has basically texted me every day between the last podcast and now, just being like, "Hey, remember, Kobe's not top 5. Hey, remember,
also say,
Kobe's not
Kevin,
top 5."
I just want to give you a point that all 5 guys you just listed have multiple All NBA defensive teams that they've made.
That doesn't matter.
Here's my 5. Just Michael Jordan 1, obviously. LeBron James 2, as much as I hate to admit it. 3 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 4 is Kobe Bryant. 5, Steph Curry.
Did you just make that list after this whole conversation to
Jalen-
trigger people?
I can
No,
tell you, this.
no.
I
No, that's
know
what I had.
Tracy better. I know
Wow.
Tracy better than anyone in this podcast. If the California Roadshow is on this podcast, there's no shot.
I just think that Steph has, for his size, what he's done for the game, he's completely changed the
So
game.
now you're putting a size qualifier on it. What if he was 6'8"? Then he's
It's-
not as good. Like,
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like it's my top 5 all time. I think he's made the modern game for people. Nobody were taking logo threes before. Nobody. Unless
This is what I'll say. I'll say if Curry continues his career for another 7 seasons, 7, 8 seasons, and does what he's done throughout his career already, I think he's easily in the top 5 and can be argued for the top, or sorry, easily in the top 10, and I can see an argument for top 5. I just don't think it's fair to do that now because there's plenty of players that had great careers and ended their career 7 years short, or 5 years short, or 3 years short, for whatever reason. That's my only argument against Curry. I'm not taking anything.
I don't think Curry's going 7 or 8 more. I really don't.
So
yeah, like
that,
I don't think Barry Sanders is a top NFL player because he only played 10 career. Like that's kind of my view on it. Like I think longevity does have to play its part.
Yeah, I mean, we all have different criteria that we lean on to determine who we think is an all-time legend. But that's what makes these lists so great, is that you can argue from 4 and 5, you can argue any of those picks.
I'm going to just real quick on a hot take here, and I haven't looked at the stats. But
Luka's better than Curry. Is that what you're going to say?
Is Kevin Durant better than Curry? Like,
I mean,
in his career,
injury,
yes.
Yeah, in his career currently, like
Excuse me.
Yes,
Who
in his career,
who joined
yes.
who?
Katie's 100% better than Curry.
Okay,
If
because
they don't win the championship this year, he's going to be known more as the guy that left Steph Curry than he will be known as Kevin Durant.
He's still going to have better numbers than Curry.
Curry is known as the guy who got Durant to win it. I mean, I know he won a championship before that, but I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm
Where's
just saying
Curry's Finals MVP at? Oh wait, he doesn't have
Don't get me started on that.
KD
Talk to me in 3
on that.
months.
Yeah, I feel like Kevin
KD's
Durant
one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Kevin Durant is probably the second best pure scorer that I've ever seen in my life.
What if I told y'all that there's a player currently?
It sounds like the beginning of an ESPN. Like, what if I told you?
It's a look.
He averages 3 more points than Curry. He averages 5 more rebounds than Curry, and he averages 2.5 more assists than Curry.
Is this player named? Is my child named after this player?
Of course he is.
Yes, he is.
Of course. It's such a false narrative on this guy.
Yeah, hold on. That should tell you it right there. That like I named my damn kid after Luka Doncic, and he's not in my top 5. Like, I love him, but the body of work is Cody's throwing.
Well, no, that sorry, I'm throwing stuff. I'm getting so frustrated.
The body of work is
I
too
think
small for Luka.
That's my point. Is that if Luka has another 10 to 15 years on the same clip that he's doing, Luka's going to be a top 5 player of all time. But I'm not going to put him in my top 5 because he hasn't done it yet.
Well, he's played for like a year and a half. I mean, he's just in the
and he's been
league.
fat for most of that time.
Yeah, and he's been arguing at
that's what I'm
refs
saying,
more than winning MVPs. If you disagree with any of our lists, or you agree, or you just want to take umbrage with something that we said, your comments are always welcome, constructive, if at all possible, but not
Post them
necessary.
down below.
Yeah, hit up
On
hit us
YouTube
up.
for those of you watching on YouTube. Let us know who your top 5 are.
Yeah, what's your top 5? We love you. We'll see you soon.
Peace.
Hello, everybody. I am back and am ecstatic to be joined by my man, Jimmy Mahan, founder, owner of Roadshow Cards and all the good stuff we're doing there. And it's time for another episode of Jimmy's Gems. And I don't have to tell Jimmy it's March Madness time.
Best day of the year. Let's start it. Let's go.
He's got Kentucky playing later tonight, but he took some time from that excitement to come on to Jimmy's Gems, talk about a few cards and what they mean to him and why. So I don't want to keep you. So you show us what you got and tell us why you picked those 2 today.
Man, the shop's busy today. It's a good thing.
I love it.
But I had to do this. 2 cards with collegiate ties, which, again, the Gems is not about value of the card always, even though we've got some big ones and things like that, but it's about value to the collector, right? Why are these gems to me? And one of these is crazy, but they both got the college ties. And I love college cards, even though they don't sell as high as pro, of course. We all know that. But the uniqueness of them, especially in a college town, a college state, mean a lot to me. So the first one is this one, which this is 10 of 50.
10 of
and
50.
This came in a trade with my man Alex Connell, one of my favorite people on the planet. And this is Steph Curry Davidson, and an inscription of "Great day to be a Wildcat." And clearly, I need to just get this slabbed and authenticated, but I have zero time in my life. I haven't done that yet. But this was part of a really special thing. Alex and I got to be friends on Instagram. And his dad is an old shooting coach for the Sixers, and Alex is an old soul that collects Wilt Chamberlain and old like the Lou Alcindor or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar cards and things like that. That I'm the same way, and I just love that stuff. Stuff we never saw these guys play, but he was looking for a Wilt Chamberlain incredible autograph, which is a extraordinarily difficult card. And to find, and was able to I was able to jump in and help secure it for him and give it to him on a visit when he and his wife Jen came, who I just adore. And they came and I gave it to him in a flawless case, center court at Rupp Arena, about 4 hours before a game. And like, here's your card.
Wow.
And I didn't want anything for it, but this was one of his big cards, and he's like, you have to take it. And I was like, well, I'll never sell it, which I won't. But I was in Carolina. I was living in Carolina when he had his huge magical run. I love Steph Curry, not as much as Ryan and Justin, but I love Steph Curry. And to me, that is not only a special card in his college uniform of a transcendental player, but the story of the Wilt Chamberlain and Alex and Jen and center court rub that came with this, to me, makes it a gem.
Yeah, and Alex is awesome. You're right. I'd never had the pleasure of meeting his wife, but he's awesome.
Visit.
What was his reaction when you presented the card to him?
It was a lot of like it wasn't like go nuts. He was more subdued, more of a shock thing. But and he kind of knew it was kind of coming ish.
Yeah.
But it's different when you're standing in the center of court of Rupp Arena and you get your dream card. Like, it was just awesome. It was. He's the best. I'm such a fan of him and his wife. So, and now he's got awesome. 2 little ones. So I'm gonna spoil them rotten.
That's great. I love it. That's a great story.
The other one is this one, and this is not expensive card, but it's a gem to me. So this is a flawless auto. There are lots this year. I think D Wade had one. I think some other guys, big names, had some. But Tayshaun in his Kentucky jersey and his Pistons jersey auto, and that's 3 of 5. And I love this because a lot of people know, but I worked for Tubby and was Tayshaun's academic counselor a long time ago. So I was there when he was on the Cats and got to see a lot of special performances. And he's a great human being. He's a great guy. He's always been super kind to me. Look, we're not like close, like sharing deep secrets, but he is a friend. And then on that note, the year they won the championship over the Lakers, he invited us all up to go to see the game where they actually closed out the Indiana Pacers with Artest and those guys. And it was like the next game would be in LA against LA in the NBA Finals. And it's like, we're like, what are we doing here? I'm just this little redneck dude. And you're sitting having dinner with like Chauncey, and Rasheed Wallace was serving his drinks after they won the Eastern Conference. And like, there's only like 20 people in the room. Like, what are we doing here? Like, tell you who you're going to guard. Like, probably Kobe Bryant. And I'm like, knife across the plate. Like, what is going on? So to me, there's a lot of memories in a card like this where I was in person for a lot of this. I was in person for one game on this that was special, and they went on to be champions. But, that's probably a $35 card. It means the world to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's so when you're looking at some of these special cards, like what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it the moment, the memory behind it? Is it the player? And then, oh yeah, I've got a story about this. Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's the memory. It really is. It's that moment, that time, or several moments, like in that Tayshaun card, where it's like, I always tell people when they collect, if they're collecting, not a flipper, which is always different, but if the value of your collection went to $0, would you still want it on the display in your man cave or in your room or on my office desk? Every card I have here, if it was worth less than a bag of jawbreakers, I would still want it on my desk because it reminds me of great moments and great days in my life. And to me, that's no different than art you put up in your house or bookshelves and things. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. So why not? And sometimes it's big cards. Yes. And I love them just as much as anybody. Big cards that can go up and be real, of course. But it's not everything I have up here. I see that, and it's that, oh, man, that was awesome.
Yeah, and those memories are, in most cases, way more valuable than a dollar value.
Yes, always. I mean, it just, and I think what it does, too, is it keeps you grateful. You know, I try and be grateful all the time. I get it. Sometimes, of course, you know, the internet's the internet, and you see people that are like, that guy can't be that happy all the time. It's just a show. Like, really, I am.
True.
Like, it's not
true.
like I'm the exact same. You can tell, like, I'm the same dude in person. Like, I work hard, I have good days, I have bad days, but I'm always grateful that I got up and my feet hit the floor this morning, and I get to work in sports cards, and I've got all these things up here remind me, like, man, this has been a great life, and it continues to be. And these are the fun things to look back on. And then it's always about, to me, okay, when people say, what's the best day of your life? It's not really these moments. To me, it's the answer should always be tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not living in high school. I'm not living in college. I'm not living in some boom. Best day's tomorrow. But these are all great days.
Yeah. Well, the biggest gem is, I think, Jimmy himself. I could do this all day, every day, and just come away a better person. That's another episode of Jimmy's Gems. Jimmy, you're awesome, and we'll do it again real soon.
Go Cats. Enjoy the madness.